Chris Murphy guy is some U.S. senator from Connecticut. Some of the things being said about trans people on this platform tonight are so vile. And so this guy, Lefty Crypto, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. I don't know if you know who Norm Macdonald is, Blair, but he was a comedian, a really good, like probably one of the greatest comedians of all time, in my opinion. He died, I think, in 2020, 2021. It was a couple of years back that he passed away. But he's a legend, and he was kind of a conservative, right wing kind of guy doing comedy. So great comedian, love his stuff. If you don't know about Norm Macdonald, you got to watch. You got to go do some research and watch some of the classic, Norm Macdonald videos on YouTube. But anyway, this classic tweet from Norm Macdonald back during the, when ISIS was terrorizing and, Muslim terrorism was the biggest deal. This is, I don't know, 2016, 2015 or something. He tweeted this. What terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans. Imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims. And that's basically the same situation as the left today about this. It's like, don't worry about the Christian children who were murdered by this deranged transsexual. Worry about the poor trans people and how people are going to be more transphobic now because their kids have been murdered by one of these freaks. And there's been so many I've seen like people posting screenshots of Instagram posts, tweets, etc. from trans accounts celebrating the attack and saying like basically praising it, threatening to do more. That basically the transgender movement, there's a radicalized portion of it that basically sees its existence as predicated upon the destruction of Christianity because it creates a value set that runs contrary to their ideology or whatever. And that rationalizes this kind of terrorism. There's going to be, I predict, unfortunately, there's going to be more of this kind of thing. This is only the beginning. And
I hope not.
This is downstream from the rhetoric. I saw the rhetoric start to pop up online about 6 months ago of describing trans genocide, because you have conservatives in the United States like Matt Walsh is one, and a few others who are starting to push back kind of hard on the trans thing. Matt Walsh cucks on Zionism because he gets paid by Ben Shapiro and won't touch the Jewish question, but he goes hard on the trans thing because that's within the Overton window. And a few others. And so they started pushing hard, and then the kind of trans defenders, they started describing it as a trans genocide because they said, because you guys want to get rid of all trans people, basically people like Matt Walsh want them to transition back into, what they actually are, want them to accept their real gender. But they say this is a genocide because you want to wipe out an entire group of people. And so when they start using this kind of rhetoric, like genocide, then it creates a kind of radical response, which is people say, well, I'm being genocided. I've got to go and kill the people genociding me. It's a fight to the death, either us or them. And so this is a product of left-wing ideological radicalization. And so the media, the left, all of them have blood on their hands for what's happened in the situation based upon how they've been framing this issue for years.
I don't think they care. It's Christian children and Christian people being shot, so they don't care. They're probably secretly happy about it.
Of course, but it's important to point this out because there's a striking parallel with how they try to frame white nationalism. When they do it, it's fine. When we have an ideology, our ideology isn't anti-nature. Our ideology isn't, predicated upon mental illness. Our ideology is predicated upon we want to have our own countries. I mean, it's such a basic demand, but apparently we are, genocidal terrorists while they genocide us, a real genocide, which is the destruction of the white race. But the trying to treat the mental illness of trans people. This is the real genocide, and this is totally justified. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's important to engage in the kind of wider discourse around this issue. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, I saw people pushing like these conspiracy boomer conservative types trying to say this was a false flag. And the evidence that they put forward for this was on one